A very good evening to you from wherever you're watching us across the country or the world. Welcome to KUTV Primetime News. Let's keep you updated on all that has taken center stage in the country. We will be having an interview on the youth's participation in the political arena in Kenya. Stay tuned for that interview. But first, let's take a look at our highlights. President William Ruto holds a consultative meeting with the ODM leaders at State House, Nairobi. Top KCAC scorer in Bungoma County, Robinson Masinde, rewinds Standard 8 over lack of fees as family appeals for help. Kiambu County health workers issue a 7-day strike notice, claims offense by county governor. And 3-year-old dies after tragic fall from 8th floor at Tasia building in Nairobi's Embakasi. Welcome to the broadcast. I'm in the company of Evans Odhiambo, our sign language interpreter tonight. My name is ODIDA. Remember, we are streaming this broadcast live on our social media platforms at KUTV_Kenya. Let's get started. President William Ruto, together with his deputy Rigathi Gachagua, today held a consultative meeting at State House, Nairobi, as a follow-up to his recent visit in the region. President Ruto had his 2-day working tour to the region last month, covering Kisumu, Homa Bay, and Siaya counties. Take a look.
A section of ODM MPs from Nyanza province met President Ruto with his deputy Rigathi Gachagua today in State House, and indicated that the president did to review his last month's 2-day tour in Kisumu, Homa Bay, and Siaya counties. Ruto promised to work together with all elected leaders from different political backgrounds in his government. The MPs who were present include Gideon Ochanda of Bondo constituency, Elisha Odhiambo of Gem, Mark Nyamita Ureri, Caroline Omondi, Suba South, Shakil Shabir, who became MP as an independent candidate Kisumu East, Felix Odur alias Jalango Langata, Paulo Buor Rongo, and John Owino of Awendo constituency. Kisumu Senator Tom Ojenda was also present. Allies to the president, led by the former nominated Senator Millicent Omanga, congratulated the president for making the wise move to unite and work together with the ODM MPs without looking at their political differences to benefit the citizens. Led by the ODM Director of Communications Philip Etale, ODM party leaders said they knew the quest for the legitimate leadership, and those who attended the meeting is to harshly judge them for betraying the movement. Etale, through his press statement, said the movement remains unstoppable, though there are those who shall fall by the wayside by accepting handouts to scatter the activities of the movement. President Ruto's meeting with the MPs comes after Azimio leaders hosted 3 rallies in Kamkunji and Jacaranda to object the leadership of the president and his deputy. Mutunga Joseph, KUTV, Nairobi.
Now on to education matters. Robinson Masinde Wekesa, the best student at Mupeli Primary School in Bungoma County, who scored 405 marks in last year's KCPE examinations, has gone back to repeat Standard 8 after the parents failed to raise fees to join Kabianga High School. According to the head teacher Mupeli Primary School, Mr. Boasi Komoli, the school performed well in last year's KCPE, but the top student Robinson Masinde has decided to repeat the same class due to lack of fees.
As Form 1 admission continues across the country, Robinson Wekesa Masinde finds himself in the same class he used to sit for his KCPE exam last year. Wekesa managed to score 405 marks in his exam, emerging top of his class. However, he is unable to join Kabianga High School due to lack of school fees.
Actioning of the brain.
Boaz Ikomoli, the head teacher at Mupeli Primary School, said that he received the boy in shock as he performed very well in his exam. Mr. Boaz further urged well-wishers to intervene and send Wekesa to school so that he can achieve his dream of becoming a neurosurgeon.
For instance, all of them, the one are joining high school, but my top student, Masinde Robinson, has missed to join Kabianga High School. The reason being that the only parent who is the mother, cannot take care of the boy's school fees.
Speaking to the media, Wekesa's mother, Evelyn Makadai, said that they applied scholarship from Constituency and Equity Foundation, but they were late to submit in the application. She further noted that she is just a housewife and cannot afford to pay her son's school fees. The emotional Robinson Wekesa also pleaded with well-wishers to help him join Kabianga High School to further his secondary education.
I managed to score 405 marks in KCPE and I would like someone to help me. I have not yet reported to Kabianga High School because my parents are not able. My mother is a housewife and my dad is a boda rider. I would like the governor and the speaker please help me so that I can achieve my goals and become a doctor in future.
The family is calling on well-wishers including the National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula and Bungoma Governor Kenneth Lusaka to help Wekesa join the prestigious school to achieve his dream of being a neurosurgeon. Ruth Wanjiru, KU TV.
So unfortunate, we hope Robinson gets the help that he needs. Now, a minor aged 3 years fell from the 8th floor of a building in Tasia area, Nairobi, and died on the spot. The late Blessing Muma was playing on the staircase of the building with other children when she slipped off and landed on the ground floor on her head, sustaining serious injuries. Blessing was taken to Forces Memorial Hospital where she was pronounced dead on arrival. Nairobi Police Boss Adamson Bungei termed the incident tragic and said they have started investigations into the matter. Bungei said such accidents have been reported in the city amid calls for safety measures to be put in structures to address them. Now, Kiambu health workers have issued a 7-day strike notice if the county administration will fail to adhere to their demands. The health workers say they have been offended by Governor Wamatangi's remarks, who noted that drugs have occasionally been stolen in Kiambu County public hospitals. The health workers argue that the county health sector is ailing and has no supplies, thus nothing to steal.
Led by their Kenya National Union of Nurses officials, the irritated medics who stormed the Kiambu County Governor's Kimani Wamatangi Thika office gave a 7-day strike notice if the county administration fails to adhere to their urgent demand of streamlining health operations in the county.
I'm just standing here to say that it isn't fair at all to work alone in a ward whereby tunasema kama wauguzi there is no procedure for one nurse, lakini tumekuwa tukifanya hivyo. I do not know whether we are offering services or we are bewitching patients. It is not right. Hata tukienda kwa WHO protocols, it is not right.
While noting that the remarks of branding them drug thieves has dented their reputation and profession, the medic said the remarks were in bad faith, as he knows quite well that the county was facing an acute shortage of medical supplies as well as workforce in all its hospitals.
These are thieves, but at what time do they come to the hospitals? Do they steal during the day or at night? Do we have system to check that? Do they carry using paper bags or do they use lorries? Because when if you're talking about more than 55% of supplies being stolen, it means that probably lorries have to be coming to the hospitals to carry these commodities. Again, are they stolen in all corners of the Kiambu? or is only one specific area?
Hilary Kiberiti, the Kiambu Branch Secretary, Kenya Union of Nurses, said the county's health workers were frustrated after the county government withdrew their services of the National Hospital Insurance Fund (NHIF), exposing them to burdens of incurring huge medical bills, which they have to cater from their pockets.
But our fear is the FIF, whereby the FIF, the decision was reached at by the hospital board without the involvement of the casuals. Yes, it does affect us, whereby we are only supposed to be receiving salaries after every 3 months, which I think is actually not human, because we're supposed to be paid at the end of every month.
James Githinji, the Mount Kenya chairman, Kenya National Union of Nurses, raised concerns over delayed salaries, poor working environment, overworking and lack of promotions, and that the workers were suffering in the hands of the county government.
We have realized that our members who have sought services have been forced to pay out of pocket. And the reports we get are that Kiambu County administration stopped remitting our contributions to NHIF. We hear that there are some other dubious schemes that are being introduced. We want to tell His Excellency the Governor that we shall resist being put to any other scheme that we are not aware of. We don't know the managers, we don't know their risk portfolio.
As the health workers gave the 7-day strike notice, Governor Matangi is also expected to give a response on the same. Caroline Kimwele, KUTV.
Cabinet Secretary for Public Service, Gender and Affirmative Action, Aisha Juma, has condemned a heinous act committed to a female genital mutilation SKP at Ntimari Sub-County. Juma, who graced the International Day for Zero Tolerance to FGM at Ntimaru Cereals grounds in Korea East, noted that everyone that participated in subjecting the girl to undergo the cut will be arrested and prosecuted.
In an event held at Ntimaru Cereals grounds, Migori County, Aisha Jumwa, Cabinet Secretary for Public Service, Gender and Affirmative Action, has said that physical integrity, inhumane acts, child security and education will be safeguarded, and those that will interfere with child protection by subjecting them to female genital mutilation or child labor will face the full force of the law.
Na chini ya uongozi wake pamoja na serikali ikiongozwa hapa na county commissioner na hawa wote wana usalama katika Migori na serikali ya county katika ushirikiano, nataka nirudi hapa nikiwa na habari kamili kwamba Migori hakuna tena ukeketaji, sasa imeenda 0%. Onyo lililo kali na lisilopendeza kwa mangariba wote, wale kina mama wanaohusika na kukeketa wasichana. Nataka niwaambie na niwape onyo. Ole wenu. Ole wenu. Kitu ambacho ni cha muhimu sisi wetu tuzingatie ni kwamba serikali haina mchezo.
Juma has disclosed that the government will increase the anti-FGM board funds to help improve the fights and efforts in eliminating the vice, as well as address the sexual and productive health of the affected girls. Migori Women Representative Fatuma Mohammed said that the majority of Kuria girls are being subjected to harmful lifestyle conditions and are prone to diseases like cervical cancer and fistula, which are associated with FGM and early marriages.
Ya mwisho nimesikia mmoja wetu akisema, women rep mmoja akisema hii mambo ya kukeketwa pia inatuletea ugonjwa. Kuna ugonjwa inaitwa fistula. Na mimi nimeongea na Safaricom na M-Pesa Foundation. Wamekubali watakuja huku Migori na kutupea surgeries bila malipo. Sisi hapa Kuria tuko Wakristo, tuko Waislamu. Kitabu cha Uislamu Qur'an imekataa kabisa msichana kukatwa. Biblia imekataa kabisa, hata haitaji.
attendance in gracing the International Day for Zero Tolerance to FGM included women representatives Rahab Mukami and her counterparts Lydia Haika from Nyeri and Taita Taveta counties, and Bahati MP Irene Joki. The International Day for Zero Tolerance to FGM is celebrated in February each year, with the aim to amplify and direct the efforts on the elimination of the FGM practice. Joy Minor, KOTV, Nairobi.
Kirinyaga County Governor Anne Waiguru has said that there will be no turning back on cracking down on liquor outlets operating in the county without licenses. The governor, who emphasized that the crackdown that started a week ago will go on until all operators are compliant, also noted that there have been cartels who have been misadvising bar owners not to pay taxes.
Speaking in Mwea, where she launched roads rehabilitation program for Mwea Rice Irrigation Scheme, Waiguru noted that since the crackdown began, the county has collected 19 million in unpaid taxes from the bar owners.
Hizo siku mbili tumeokota pesa, tumeokota zaidi ya milioni 19.
Waiguru noted that her administration was keen on listening and addressing grievances by traders with the aim of forging harmony, saying that some of the issues by traders will be addressed through proposed bill in the county assembly.
Ambao wanauza pombe, wanajiita bar owners. Ambao yaza ni wenye bar owners. Sisi hatuna vita. Tumekutana na nyinyi zaidi ya mara mbili before elections. Mkatuambia shida zenu, tukawaambia tutatatua sheria ikibadilishwa. Lakini sheria hatungojei ibadilishwe.
The governor said that the roads rehabilitation program aims at achieving well-drained or weather access roads within the scheme through the marraming of 200 kilometers of roads before the onset of the oncoming rains, saying that the roads marked for rehabilitation have been identified in collaboration with members of the County Assembly and Irrigation Water Users Association.
Pongeze sana NIB na chairman wa scheme na komiti yake na wabunge wetu kwa vile wameongea tukakuwa na mradi wa kunyorosha barabara.
Some of the roads earmarked for marraming in this program include Mahiga in Madaini, Kiriko Kamariandu and Nyamindi Gadigiriri roads. Mutunga Joseph, KUTV.
Now, a tribunal led by Justice Mubi Ngugi has recommended the removal of Judge Said Juma Chitembwe from office over gross misconduct. The report was received by President William Ruto on Tuesday at State House, Nairobi. Members of the Justice Mubi-led tribunal are Senior Counsel Kiragu Kimani, assisted by Edwin Omoti and Joseph Gitonge. In May 2022, the Judicial Service Commission approved his removal and wrote to the then President Uhuru Kenyatta for further action. Accordingly, the commission resolved to send the petition to His Excellency the President for his further action in accordance with Article 168, Section 4 of the Constitution, Chief Justice Martha Koome said. Allow us to take a very fast short break at this point. We are coming back with more and hopefully with an interview on youth and politics. Stay tuned.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College is focused on being the leading technical and vocational training institute in the region. Our team possesses in-depth knowledge and extensive experience in the industry, offering thorough training in cosmetology, hairdressing, interior design, creative arts, training of trainers, nail technology, and fashion design. With branches in Nairobi, Thika, Meru, Eldoret, and now in Mombasa, our courses ensure that learners are completely equipped with knowledge, competency, and employability skills. Enroll today to be a part of a center of excellence.
Tunakula usiku. Tuachane na break kwanza, tuende lunch. Chapo. Kama ndimo.
Rasha piga shada kuna giza. Sikinai tujinai siweke story. Pata maji pia shada liko nasio nikosa msuko si stress. Kama rende kisha basi nipe. Najua ni
big up, Zade, ukiwa Adriba, big up, Sis, big up, Shows, Mama, big up, Oya, wase wote, okay, my principal, big up.
I'm managing projects for Computers for Schools Kenya, and there are projects that relates to mostly ICT in education, capacity building, and of course electronic waste management. What to do with the old devices now became a big challenge. So we started a department for electronic waste management within Computers for Schools Kenya.
This is a cable stripper. This is a CRT cutter machine. So this is a WeCenter dismantling space.
Lola is an app that gives you a chance to watch videos, listen to audios, and read articles wherever you are for free. Motivational stories, dramas, campus life, technology, lifestyle, adventure, sports, academics, jobs, entertainment, and more. Download Lola now on Play Store. All you need, you got Lola.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Let's continue with our coverage. Nairobi Regional Commissioner Kate Mwanza has today joined environmental stakeholders and residents of South Bay in Starehe Sub-County for a tree planting exercise in line with the government's goal to increase the country's forest cover. Mwanza appreciated everyone's efforts to yield the call of the president by turning up to plant trees to fight climate change, with Nairobi being at the forefront in leading this exercise. The RC cited the passive climate change as the cause of the strong heat waves experienced across the country, as he also acknowledged the local community-based organization Green Cities Organization for its initiative to work with the government to conserve the environment.
We are going to take the lead in this. Today, the total number of trees planted in this compound alone are 2,600. We are going to ensure that we green the whole of Nairobi. We are going to take the lead in this. Today, with the total number of trees planted in this compound alone are 2,600. We are going to ensure that we green the whole of Nairobi. We are going to take the lead in this. Today, with the total number of trees.
Now, Kenya Power has assured investors in the electric mobility value chain that the grid network is robust enough to support the transition from fossil fuel-powered vehicles. KPL says it has consistently invested heavily towards the expansion of the grid's capacity and its automation to accommodate the exponential growth with demand for electricity, and quality of power supply.
Kenya Power has invested in grid expansion and refurbishment projects where it has spread in many regions in Nairobi County to map out the needs of e-mobility sector and define a framework to provide excellent service to all players. The company has been actively involved in e-mobility projects and initiatives with local and international partners.
We can be able to come together and share ideas which are going to enable us to inform policy formulation and be able to develop the infrastructure that is required to support the uptake of e-mobility.
The company is working with a liaison office which champions its e-mobility business, and it's through the office that the company is working with investors and stakeholders to support development of the e-mobility ecosystem. The ecosystem entails identification of sites for potential charging stations and softwares to enable users access the charging station.
Next financial year, we'll be buying an hybrid of e-vehicles and the conventional vehicles, and in the next 2 years, our procurement of vehicles will be 100% electric.
Due to high demand of electric-powered vehicles that is expected to accelerate in future, there is need for awareness of the benefits of e-mobility, as this is viewed as an organic opportunity to support the green agenda and to drive demand for electricity. Ruth Wanjiru, KU TV.
Now, across our borders, the war in Ukraine has left thousands of wounded soldiers, many of whom require the latest technologies to heal and return to normal life. VOA Anna Chernikova visited rehabilitation center near Kyiv, where cutting-edge technology and holistic care are giving soldiers hope.
Doctors say 17% of Ukrainian soldiers wounded in Russia's war on their homeland have injuries that require high-tech treatment and solutions. This Neuro Rehabilitation Center near Kyiv is providing that, according to its head doctor. It's funded by corporate and private Ukrainian donations, and doctors say it offers cutting-edge care in areas like kinesiotherapy and robotics. Founded in 2014 by a team of military physicians, the center's goal is to treat soldiers with severe injuries so they can be physically active again and return to a normal life.
Fighters often come to our clinic with injuries to various parts of the body. One fighter may have a missing limb, but at the same time, 3 others are not working. Often, the presence of one prosthesis for our wounded patients does not decide their fate. They all need early technological rehabilitation.
Kulik says that since 2014, the clinic has treated more than 12,000 soldiers. 29-year-old Pavlo Poznansky helped defend Mariupol. He was held by Russia until a much-publicized prisoner swap in September. He suffered 5 bullet injuries, one of which damaged his spinal cord and paralyzed the lower part of his body. After unsuccessful rehabilitation attempts at 3 different hospitals, he arrived here.
I've not yet seen a better approach than in this center, and it gives results. The left leg has started to work. I can now bend and unbend it. I can sit, make some moves. The right leg also starting to respond a little.
For Yaroslav Mudry, who has been defending Ukraine since 2014, the psychological care is also extremely important.
Everyone should have rehabilitation. Psychological, of course, because not all people are adapted to combat. For example, it is easier for me because this is not my first combat action.
The clinic's psychiatrists say it is critical not to erase the soldiers' experience, but rather help them come to terms with the trauma, recover, and be ready to overcome future obstacles. While videotaping in the clinic, the power went out, as often happens as a result of Russia's war on Ukraine. But the wounded soldiers, like the clinic, carried on. Anna Chernikova for VOA News, Kyiv.
Right, we are taking our second short break at this point. You're coming back with an interview on youth and politics. Stay tuned for that.
Baada ya kutafuta kazi, tunaweza kuanzisha miradi yetu ambayo ingetusaidia kubadilisha maisha ya wazazi wetu.
Kwa vijana wenzangu, wengi wale wana kazi, lakini ikiwa sisi wenyewe tutajiamini, tunaweza kujiajiri wenyewe.
Afrika kwa kweli tuna mahitaji ambayo ukiyasuluhisha unaweza kuathiri watu kwenye bara hili
bila uoga. Watu huwa na uzalishaji zaidi, wanajawa na ujasiri, wanakuwa wabunifu na wanakuwa wenye maarifa.
Niliamua kuacha kazi, hata kama sitafanikiwa, nitakuwa nimejaribu, nitakuwa najua haiwezekani.
Hakuna kitu cha ajabu hapa. Kila anayepata ufanisi hufanya kazi usiku na mchana.
Kitu kitakusukuma na kuwezesha kupata maarifa ambayo hukuwa nayo.
Tunajaribu kutengeneza kitu kitakachopita mipaka ya nchi hii.
Ikiwa unataka kubadilisha ulimwengu, anza na nyumbani.
Maelfu na maelfu ya wahamiaji wakiwa na watoto kutoka nchi za Amerika ya Kati wanaendelea kuwasili kwenye mpaka kati ya Marekani na Mexico.
But folks, I'm going. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Ni habari kutoka pembe zote duniani.
Pipopa si vuguvugu. Pipopa ni idea.
Tazidi ananyonya, hanyonyi vizuri, anakuwa hayuko comfortable.
Jeshi la Jamhuri ya Kidemokrasia ya Kongo linapambana na uasi wa ADF.
Kwa sasa wanatoa wito kwa mashirika, makampuni na vile vituo vya uchukuzi.
Mambo mengi yatakwenda kama yalivyopangwa.
Hapa ni kuna mmoja wa viongozi wa chama cha wavuvi katika eneo hili.
Zaidi tunajaribu kuwapa chanjo ili ina boost ama inanyanyua kinga ya mwili, ndio inaenda kupelekea kupambana na virusi.
Ni dunia ni leo, Jumatatu mpaka Ijumaa, moja kwa moja kutoka VOA Swahili, Washington DC.
Managing projects for Computers for Schools Kenya, and there are projects that relates to mostly ICT in education, capacity building, and of course electronic waste management. What to do with the old devices now became a big challenge, so we started a department for electronic waste management within Computers for Schools Kenya.
This is a cable stripper. This is a CRT cutter machine. So this is a we center dismantling space.
Hello everybody, I'm Nana. And I'm Gigi. Welcome to Engine Season 2. The place to find out about the world we live in and the creatures that we share our planet with. Join us on the most exciting adventures across the African continent. See breathtaking wildlife, stunning landscapes, and out of this world technologies. Meet incredible scientists and learn fantastic facts. Explore, discover, be amazed. Be part of the next generation of African change makers. Be a part of Engine, Africa's #1 science discovery program. Yay!
We're learning every day. Let's go. Engine leads the way.
We are all seeing the impacts of climate change. In Kenya, for example, the frequency of the floods is becoming more and worse. The amount of people and livestock we're losing.
go is a level where the normal mwananchi and also the government stakeholders can uptake these solutions.
Those small acts multiplied by millions of us will help make a difference in the world at the end of the day.
It's just a slight behavior change that we need, and you'll find that it serves us a bit more than you put in. And that's the goal. We want to live a better world than we found. Because at the rate we are going, it's dire.
We will secure the planet for future generations.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Now it's time for discussion of the night. We're talking about youth and politics. Now, our tonight interviews is youth and politics, like I've said. How are the youth represented in the Kenyan political arena? Do they feel seen? I mean, when it comes to participation and decision making in the country. Our guest this evening is a lawyer as well as a youth leader. Let's get his perspective on the youth's representation in Kenyan politics. So welcome to Studio Wakili.
Asante.
Can you introduce yourself so that maybe, at least, so that we can know you better?
Thank you for hosting me. My name is Evans Owino Wanyande.
Yeah.
Because I saw the poster you written Wanyande. It is still a name, I accept. So I'm Evans Owino. I'm a certified paralegal.
Yeah.
I'm also a senior LLB student at Daystar University.
Yeah.
I'm a youth leader, a digital political strategist, and also I am a student leader at Daystar University.
Perfect. That's wonderful. Now let's dive into this discussion, Evans. Young people, political participation and decision making. Is there proper representation, and how important is the youth's participation? Tell us about that.
Yeah, we all agree that the youth in Kenya form 75% of the total population.
Yeah.
This simply means that if you are to be fair to the youth in Kenya, then the representation in the National Assembly, the representation in the Senate, and even the representation of the youth in appointive positions ought to be the highest, if we were to be fair. So in maybe answering that question, I would say that youth are still not yet represented as it is supposed to be, because like for example in the current cabinet, there's no youth representation in the current cabinet by the president, President William Ruto. Also, when you look at the list of the PSs that were recently appointed, I think we only have three youths, three PSs who can be labeled as youths in the country. So I'm not satisfied with the kind of representation, but also it raises the question of why is it that we form the largest population, and also we form the largest population of voters, and the youth is not anywhere to be seen in the political table or in the leadership tables.
Yeah.
So it is something that we really need to look into and think for ourselves as youths. Then why is it that as the youth we are not electing our own?
Yeah.
Yes.
So in regards to that, how would you describe the political system in Kenya in regards to youth involvement? Still on that, how would you describe this political system?
We must understand that these things did not come yesterday or even today or the day before yesterday. These things started long time ago. I remember in 1982, the YK 92 that was led by the former assistant minister, Cyrus Jirongo. Now in 1992, youths were being used to promote ethno-political activities during politics. And the YK 92 was used in 1992 by the then president, President Moi, and the then government, the KANU government, to try and bring the youth and also to be a resistant movement to fight those who are pro-constitutional change by then. So this already tells you where the youth has been put in the Kenyan politics, and this continued in 1997, the Youth for KANU, I think, and also we've had factions of the youths in different electioneering periods up to now, where the youth is only used to kind of fight for the political elites. And I think that kind of nature, that is what we have to fight as youths in this country, and not allowed to be used. And I can describe that as the political the political space for the youth in Kenya right now. The youth are being used to form ethnopolitical resistant movements, which is not the thing that we are supposed to be doing. We are supposed to be in the ballot. We are supposed to be the one participating directly in politics, and that is not the case.
Right, we will come to that later on in our interview, that movement that you're talking about. So what would you say are some of the challenges you are facing as the youth in regards to youth participation in politics and governance in the country?
Some of the challenges we are facing as the youth in regards to governance in Kenya, one of them is lack of empowerment. I think the space for the youth in Kenyan politics is so pathetic, and I'm sorry to say that. And the reason why I'm saying this is because, and I'll explain it with a scenario. When a youth wants to vie for, let's say, an MP position, and there's someone who's been there for the past 10 years or 15, then the youth is going to be told, step down, in a way to try to insinuate that the older person show some respect for the elder, for your elders. So I think that in itself describes the kind of challenges the youths are going through in matters politics or governance in the country. Again, things to do with lack of empowerment. Youth in the previous general elections, many youths were alluded to the fact that they are supposed to vie for the MCA position. So you find that there are some positions, or let's say seats, that are designated for certain people or certain age group, and they tend to say that the youth cannot manage such political positions. But that is not true. We have leaders who are elected in their youthful ages. One of them is Sakaja, when he was the SG for the Jubilee Party, and then then became a senator when he was still a youth. We have people like Ndidi Nyoro who are really working for their people. And we have to really give the youth the kind of space they desire in politics in this country for us to count on the youth.
Right. Now, you have mentioned about the 2022 general election, and you have also said that the youth make 75% of the Kenyan population, right? Now, that election recorded a lower youth turnout. What could have constituted this lack of interest in Kenyan youth to exercise their democratic right to vote?
I'll be very, very frank and specific.
Yeah.
And I have to say that one of the reasons why there was a very low turnout for the youth in the previous or the just concluded general elections, it was because one of them is hunger. and I want to be very clear and specific, because you cannot tell someone who has not eaten since morning to go and vote.
So do you advocate for handouts?
I don't advocate for handouts, but I advocate for good policies by the government to ensure that such things are curbed when they are still not rampant. For example, right now in Kenya, there's a lot of hunger, and and maybe someone stays here and the polling station is somewhere in town. You don't expect that person to go and vote. So one of them, to be really specific, is hunger. The second one is lost hope. Youths in this country have lost hope. They don't know what is going to happen next. So you cannot tell a person who has built a lot of the youth in the country right now have built a lot of narrative in their heads or in their minds that even if we go to vote, even if we go to vote, we are still going to get the same leaders. Also, the issue to do with the deep state and system, also, even if I go to vote, it is already predetermined. So why should I go and vote? I think those are the things that really caused whatever happened, the low turnout in the general elections. Yes.
Now, as a youth leader, what are you trying to put in place to ensure that these gaps are filled when it comes to voting and the interest in the nation politics? Let's keep in mind that 5 years is not so far. We will be going back to the ballots in the next 5 years, 2027. So what are you trying to do to fill in these gaps?
I think the first thing that is very prudent to do is the obvious one, public awareness.
Yeah.
The youth in the country should be educated on the importance of voting, on the importance of, and they need to be told again that you are the largest population. If you wanted to rule this country, your time is now. And I always say this. I hear many youth out there. They say things to do with, I'm not interested in politics. Politics a dirty game. I don't know. But you cannot say that you are the future leader when right now today you are saying that you cannot participate in politics. You are the future leader, so you have to be an active participant in politics yet today. So creation of public awareness by the government or the affected people to try and explain to these youth that, look, there's importance in voting. There's importance in driving your own agenda. And for the record, people or the leaders you have elected in both the National Assembly and the Senate, these people, many of them are not youth. So they actually they don't have first-hand experience of what the youth of this country need. So if at all, if we had leaders or youthful leaders in those houses, then in terms of policy making, because we all understand that youth are very creative, they are very energetic, they are very entrepreneurial in nature. So if we can have youthful leaders, leaders who are who know what actually befits the youth, then I think we are going to solve the biggest challenge of youth in leadership. And policies that are going to help our youth are going to be passed, and we are going to realize that. I'll give an example of Johnson Sakaja, the governor Nairobi. So we had a lot of challenges that were affecting the youth in Nairobi, and one of them is on entrepreneurship. You find before you could find that starting a business in Nairobi with a capital of 100,000 was very impossible, because by the time you are finishing to pay for those licenses, you will have exhausted the 100,000 on the licenses, leave alone the product that you're planning, or the service you're planning to render. So with Sakaja being a youthful leader, even if he has crossed that bracket of a youth, but being a youthful leader and understanding what really the youth are going through, he was able to actually merge all the licenses, and right now the youth in Nairobi can now start their businesses, and they can now run their businesses under one license. Those are some of the policies we are talking about.
Now, in President William Ruto's manifesto, before he got into office, he had a really great vision for the youth, and that included creation of jobs as well as formulating policies to better the lives of the youth in Kenya in his first now 100 days in office. Do you feel the government has delivered its promises now as a youth leader?
As a youth leader, I'd say that the government has constantly been telling us to be patient. And I think I'll support that. We need to be patient because everything is progressive in nature. Even our own constitution is very progressive. It provides that the government is supposed to care for the citizens' health.
So there's hope?
And that still means that if I get sick, it is the government to treat me. But that is not the case. The case is the spirit of our constitution is progressive. I tend to believe that even the Kenya Kwanza government, it is progressive in nature, and whatever, let us wait and see what they are going to offer in matters empowering the youth and also in delivering their manifesto.
Now, what should the government do to make the youth feel seen in the Kenyan political space?
I think it still brings us back to empowerment.
Yeah.
The government needs to create platforms for the youth to ensure empowerment. These platforms are supposed to inform the youth on what they really need to do for them to access those political or leadership positions. Another one is policy making. I don't know the position of the current government, but in the previous government, His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta's regime, we had things to do with affordable housing, manufacturing, forming part of the Big Four agenda. But I've heard the current president, His Excellency William Ruto, and he's been so vocal on issues to do with continuing the Big Four agenda. So if the government can continue with such projects, these are projects that directly employ the youth. These are projects that directly ensure that the youth are protected in terms of job creation and everything. So the government should simply formulate policies that are going to be youth-friendly, that are going to be to develop to develop the youth of this country, and also it is very obvious. The obvious thing that the government should do is to allow the youth and give the youth a chance in their appointive positions, and give them a chance in terms of tenders, in terms of giving just opportunities for the youth. We have AGPO. AGPO on paper is a very constructive thing for the youth, or a very constructive agenda or policy for the youth. But on the ground, it is totally different. On the ground, people with disability, the youth and women are not given those opportunities. If you go to their website right now, the AGPO website, you'll find that the tenders that have been floated there, they date back to 2021. This simply tells you that these are tenders that have been given, and you will ask yourself, since 2021, hasn't there been a tender that a youth, a woman, or a person living with disability can apply since 2021? So some of these things, they are there, very good policies, but implementation has been a headache, and I don't know why. But it is a plea to the government again that let us work and let us make policies that are going to support the youth.
Yeah. Now, as we wind up, Evans, Azimio leader Raila Odinga has unveiled a youth resistance movement. It is dubbed Movement for Defense of Democracy. What's your take on this movement as a leader? And you're also a lawyer, so maybe the importance of this movement and implications to the youth, if any.
Our constitution provides for the freedom of association.
Yeah.
That is very, very clear. And also, there are limitations as to every freedom. That is in Article 24. So, Article 24 provides for the limitations of every right and freedom. So, I think if the movement is for a good cause, as they are trying to portray it, then it is fine, and we fully support. But again, I want to pose a simple question. When the Azimio leader, Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, was unveiling his cabinet sometime last year at KICC, I didn't see any youth in that list. But now, for the NRM, for the MDD, I'm seeing it is fully made of the youth. Then what is he trying to portray? We could see people like Honorable Joho being the CS land, I don't know, and the names that have been in the political arena since time immemorial. So I don't support it in that way. I was expecting someone like Joho, someone like Junet to be the chair of that MDD or to be on the front line. But I'm only seeing the youths. And this is something we are trying to talk about and trying to hide the elite political class, to desist from. They need to desist from using the youth in the negative angle of politics, but try to find something constructive that they are going to involve the youth in a constructive manner in matters politics and leadership and the governance of this country.
Yeah.
So if it is for a good cause, then it is fine. But again, I really want to urge the former Prime Minister to give the current president and the current administration time to implement their manifesto, for Kenyans to realize whatever they have for us in store.
All right, perfect. We have now come to the end of our discussion tonight. Thank you so much, Evans, for making time for us tonight. Let's continue with our broadcast from this point. All right, let's now take a look at what's happening in the world of sports. African record holder and Commonwealth 100 meters champion Ferdinand Manyala has vowed to blaze a trail this season when he makes his Diamond League debut. The Diamond League season opener is set for May 5th in Doha, Qatar, and is part of the 14 best invitational meets that make up the annual track and field athletics series. Omanyala will be hoping to emulate the 9.69 seconds world record set at the Diamond League in August 2012 by Jamaican Johan Blake in Lausanne, Switzerland. The Anti-Doping Agency of Kenya, EDEC, has given athletes Stella Barsosio and Gloria Kite Chebiwot 2-year doping suspensions. Chebiwot, 25, received the suspension after being found guilty of violating the World Athletics anti-doping rules by utilizing an illegal drug known as anabolic androgenic steroids after her sample was obtained for analysis in May 2022. Barsosio, who has 5 marathon victories to her credit, was suspended due to the presence of the banned chemical tremetazidine in her sample. All right, finally, Ghana national footballer and former Newcastle midfielder Christian Atsu has been found alive with injuries after being buried in the rubble of an earthquake that killed at least 5,000 people in Turkey and neighboring Syria. This is according to Ghana's ambassador to Turkey. Atsu, 31 years, joined Turkish Super League side Hatayspor in September, based in the southern province of Hatay near the epicenter of Monday's massive quake. Atsu has been reported missing following the 7.8 magnitude earthquake that struck early on Monday as people were sleeping, where bad weather has hampered emergency rescue efforts. All right, that's a wrap. We have come to the end of our bulletin tonight. Many thanks indeed for keeping us company. Be sure to join me again tomorrow for the Hump Day Bulletin. My name is ODIDA. I'm in the company of Evans Odhiambo, who has been our sign language interpreter tonight. Have a good night and see you tomorrow.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College is focused on being the leading technical and vocational training institute in the region. Our team possesses in-depth knowledge and extensive experience